Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, it seems to be a day that we're going to talk about money, finances, and preparing for that. Talked this morning a little bit about home insurance, property taxes, that sort of stuff, how we can expect that stuff to go up. Now we're going to talk about your medical expenses. And considering the age of about 2/3 of the people that watch this channel, including me, medical expenses are something that we all deal with. Okay? As we get older, sure, we wind up having more medical expenses. The body eventually starts wearing out as we get older. We know it. Well, this week, the Biden administration has finalized a ruling that prohibits, how do you want to put, medical debt from being included on somebody's credit rating. Okay. And I'm kind of on both sides of this, and I want to hear a little bit about what you guys have to say, because I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. This is probably 25 years ago, so you figure I was about 30. One of the girls I worked with had a traumatic brain injury and had surgery. She was fine. I mean, I haven't talked to her obviously forever, but she had come back to work, and she had well over $1 million worth of medical bills from this. And so, whatever little she could pay at the time, I mean, mind you, this is 25 years ago, so, what $1 million was back then is probably, $3 now? And I don't know what the total figure was. But, okay, she was trying to make some sort of payment on it, but she was never, ever going to be able to pay that off. I mean, if you look at your lifetime income, you might have maybe made $1 million in your life. Okay. I mean, if you think about that, if you've got a $50,000 a year salary, that means it's going to take you 20 years to make $1 million before taxes. Certainly not having that $1 million left over to go pay bills. So, sure, this was going to show up on her credit bureau basically forever, that she owed this amount of money. And, if you guys know how credit scores work, the amount of debt you have factors into your credit score, which, of course, then means whether or not you can qualify for a mortgage, whether or not you can qualify for a car, car loan or something like that. It will affect your car insurance, home insurance rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yes, this could have a big negative on somebody's life, having something like that. So in that respect, maybe somewhat I do agree with taking the medical debt off of your credit report, because that didn't affect whether or not she was creditworthy to buy a house or anything of the sort. But then you look at the other side, okay? And as you guys know, collectively as Americans, we have about $18 trillion in credit card debt, okay? Not including mortgage debt, car payment debt, certainly not medical or anything like that, just credit card. The government's $36 trillion in debt. The rest of us are $18 trillion in debt. So what's going to happen? What are the chances of bills getting paid? None. How many people do you think are now going to go, you know what? I'll just go to the emergency room when I've got a cold so the doctor can give me a prescription for whatever I need. And then I don't ever have to worry about paying the bill because there's no negative to my life for paying it. It's not going to affect my credit score, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that doesn't mean that the hospitals, the medical collection groups can't sue you for it. Sure, they can. Okay. But again, that's going to get nowhere. Great, you've got a judgment against you, and maybe they can take $25 a month or a week out of your paycheck or whatever, and that's that. This is just another way that prices for all of us are going to go up. People already don't pay the bills. There's 46 million people that have medical debt on their credit score. That's all going to get wiped away. Okay. So 46 million people's credit score is going to go up, which means they are going to be now more qualified for that car loan, for that credit card, for that mortgage, even rent. They check your credit score to rent an apartment. But so now these people who potentially weren't paying their medical bills, what are the chances of them paying their credit card bills, their student loans, their mortgage, their car payment? I mean, we're seeing repossessions of cars exponentially increase. The amount of people that are defaulting on car notes. Inevitably, foreclosures will start going up once we see a little bit more of the recession that's coming. You guys know that. Okay. Take a look at bond yields. That'll tell you a recession's on the way. But now you're going to have people even more extended in credit, which means, gee, my credit score went up. I can go buy a car. I can go buy a house. So what's the first thing that they're going to try to pay for? They're going to pay for that car, for that house, whatever. And the medical debt is going to be pushed down further and further and further in the priority list. Doctors don't work for free. Nurses don't work for free. Hospital equipment isn't free. So what are the hospitals going to have to do? Raise your insurance rates, because they got to get paid somewhere. There's 46 million people out there with debt that hasn't been paid. Why do you think our insurance rates are going up? Because the hospital still has to maintain money. You guys have seen, we've talked about this in the past couple of years, about hospitals closing because they can't afford to keep the doors open anymore because the people aren't paying the bills. We know insurance companies are notorious for finding any reason whatsoever for denying claims. It's life's, the doctor has to call the insurance company, literally, not him, but, and say, this is what we want to do. And they go, well, we're only going to authorize you to do this, but I need to do this to save the person's life. Oh, okay, we'll let you do this. And this is where our medical has got to. This is how insane it is. Now, of course, then you'll get the people on the other side going, well, this is why we need socialized medicine. We need government-controlled health care. Everybody can go get health care no matter what, and they don't have to worry about paying for it. We could take Canada as an example, because it's working so well up there for the Canadians that the Canadians try to come across the U.S. border to go see the doctors in the United States, because we can get you in 9 months, Mrs. Jones, but I've got a cold today, or, I broke my arm today. This is something else that we need to look at when we're preparing our own financial journey. For some people, sure, this is a good thing. Like I said, the girl I talked to before. For other people, for the majority, gee, the illegals maybe, this system's going to be completely taken advantage of. Nobody ever looks past the tip of the nose and says, gee, if we do this, do you think anybody'd take advantage of it? You know they will. I know they will. Unfortunately, the morons that are sitting in Washington don't think about it. They don't care. They get free health care anyway, okay? They think everybody else should too. Great. Hey, I'm all for free health care. Don't get me wrong. It'd be great. It'd be wonderful if everything in life was free. That's called socialism. That's called communism. It doesn't work, okay? Should insurance companies be the ones making medical decisions? Absolutely not, okay? Personally, insurance companies, I don't think, should be for-profit organizations, okay? Why you have these guys like the United Healthcare CEO who just was assassinated a month ago making $100 million a year? No, that shouldn't happen. But the thing is this, look where every medical advancement, for the most part, comes from. It comes from here. Why? Because we have a capitalistic society. Because it's not government controlled. Government control does not foster innovation. Government control fosters corruption. Joe Biden's a good example of that. As this comes down, like I said, some people will definitely be worthy of the relief they're going to get. I'll bet that's 2 or 3%. Other people are going, cool, that means I'm never paying this bill. And just like the student loan fiasco, that means you and I get to pay for their bills. Plan accordingly. Expect your insurance rates to go up now that this has come out, because somebody's got to pay the piper. Unfortunately, just like student loans again, or just like all this housing crap that we've got for illegals, it ain't going to be the people that's getting the benefit. It's going to be all of us that work for a living. Pinball out.